Hi guys, welcome back to the workshop. It's a particularly nice day here in Ireland, but even more rare, it's a nice day on a public holiday. So everyone's off today, but I'm in the workshop getting things organised. And I thought it was about time I put a little video update up just to show you guys where I'm at. So I've had a number of people ask me questions behind the scenes and private messages and things, but I thought I'd take all those kind of regularly asked questions and roll them into one video and kind of run through the key facts and figures that people want to know, and also give you guys an update as to how I'm progressing with the whole guitar project as a whole. So we'll move inside and we'll run through a couple of things and hopefully you guys will find it interesting. So we're back in the workshop and there's been a lot of progress in here since we last spoke. So I've had a mezzanine floor put in, and the purpose of that is up on top of that mezzanine, I envisage as being my final setup area for the guitar. So I want to have two stations up there. That'll be like a setup area for guitars with all the tools you'd need for finishing the fretting and stringing and setting the action and the relief and everything else. So that area up there, that's what it's earmarked for. And beneath it is actually where my paint booth is going. So I have the frame with the paint booth in at the minute, and I'm just waiting now for a few filters to come and a few fans and air pumps and things like that to come and to get that all wired in. And then that will be the paint booth up and in action. So as I've mentioned before, I've had a lot of issues with paint. It's kind of outside of my realms of expertise. I've been depending on other people to kind of show me and things like that, but I've never had my own facility. And I think out of all the issues, fundamentally, I need to start off in a very clean, temperature controlled environment to make sure things are going to be right. So that's what's kind of had a delay on the whole project at the minute, but I am getting there. I have been doing a bit of testing. I've been working with a number of organisations just to kind of educate myself and get a bit of training on the actual hands-on, the prep and the painting off carbon fibre, and I'm happy to say the end is in sight. Now, as I've mentioned, I've had a number of questions from different people who are interested. Primarily Karen reached out and sent me a list of questions that she had, and I've printed them out and have all the answers here. I thought rather than just replying to these one-on-one, it's the same questions lots of people are asking me, and I thought it might be just worth putting a video together and putting it out there. And if any of you guys have questions, maybe we'll do another video with a follow-up and we'll discuss them there, and we'll have this to kind of be a two-way thing. So yeah, we'll dive in. So the best way to get through this, I think, is just rapid fire. We'll work through all the facts and figures, and I'll move about the workshop and show you different things as we go. So the first category we'll go for is the fretboard and the neck as a whole. So the fretboard and the scale length of this instrument is about 630 millimeters, and that's about 24.8 inches. So quite a traditional scale length for this kind of guitar, which will be a parlour guitar. So the neck, I would class it as a rounded C, or sometimes a flattened oval, people may call it. So it's quite a round neck. It feels really good in the hand. It's something that I personally really like. Really flat necks make my thumb cramp up. I like a rounded, more ergonomic neck. It's tapered a little bit. It does taper a little bit more as you come up to the heel, and that's because as your hand moves around a little more, it's more to support your thumb as it moves around. So I really like it. It's something that I've got really good feedback on. I was a bit worried about it early on, but people seem to really love it. So thankfully, it's gone down well. But in the future, I am hoping to potentially offer some custom profiles and things like that. So there's a lot of investment in setting up individual profiles, so I might have maybe 2 or 3 options. But as I say, the mold I have at the minute, that's what it is. So I always get a lot of questions about the layout of the body and the profile of the body. So it's a traditional parlour silhouette. It's very, very similar to all the traditional instruments, particularly from the 20s and 30s. That's where I got a lot of inspiration from. And obviously, I've moved the sound holes to improve the soundboard, and I've added a little cutaway to improve access. So that it's not a complete cutaway, it's only a little bit. It gives you an extra 3 to 4 frets access, but as I say, it was really to go for that traditional parlour silhouette. So it's also a little bit deeper than a parlour guitar would traditionally be, and it's because of the comfort cuts and things like that. It allows for it to be a little bit deeper without you feeling it. So I'm really happy with it. I've got a lot of good feedback on it. It's actually my second iteration of the profile of the body. I had an earlier one that was a little bit more deep and it didn't really feel as comfortable. So this one arrived at this point, which was a happy medium, and people seem to really like it. Machine heads, I always get a lot of comments and questions about my machine heads. On my own instrument that I play a lot, I've go-to lock and tuners with these rounded buttons, but recently I've started using these. They're made in Germany. They've got trapezoid style buttons, so traditional kind of styling. I think they fit the guitar very well. They're non-locking, but they are closed back, and in the future they may carry my logo on the back of them as well, which would be nice. So they're a lot lighter weight. They're a little bit cheaper, so I think this will be like the standard offering, and then if you want go-to or something else, then that'll be an optional extra. But again, these will all be made to order, so whatever you want. Cases and gig bags is something I've put a lot of research into, finding manufacturers that can make something that's incredibly well fitting but also protects the instrument. I've come up with a number of options. I have a few of them here in front of me just to show you guys. This is a Hiscox case. I'm sure a lot of you guys have used Hiscox before or have seen Hiscox. They're incredibly robust. They're really, really solidly built, and they'll protect your instrument from literally everything I can see coming at it. Though they can be very heavy and they can be a bit of overkill. So unless you're throwing your guitar into a cargo hold of a flight very often, it's probably overkill. My preference is padded gig bags. So I have two different options here from different manufacturers. I've got something a little bit basic and it's lined with nice yellow felt. And then I've got something a little bit more complicated, which has got a couple more pockets, so one for like my iPad, one for my jack lead, and then picks and capos and everything go in there. But this was all made to my exact specifications. There's a few things I want to change in it. A few of the zips go the wrong direction, and some of the straps I prefer they're clip on, clip off, and things like that. So this was a prototype. I'm really happy with this. I think this is the direction I'm going to go as the standard offering. Hard cases will be an option, likely Hiscox hard cases, but as I say, this will probably standard or something very similar to this. Pickups and electronics, it's something everyone's got their own preference. My personal preference is Fishman. They're expensive, but I find they give a really full, warm-bodied sound out of them. Now, I've also used Eller bags in a number of my prototypes, and I've been happy with those as well. So it comes down to personal preference. I think my standard offering will be no pickup as standard, but then for a small fee, maybe $20 or $30, there'll be an Eller bags element fitted. I do think there's method to the fact that if you don't really need a pickup, you're kind of better to not have it. It adds weight, it adds complexity, it adds something that can be dislodged over time or anything else. So I think if you don't need one, maybe you're better to not have one. In terms of what else is possible, really the sky's the limit. This guitar has obviously got a set of humbuckers in it. It's also got an undersaddle pickup, and my idea of this is I'm going to have a blend pot where I can blend between the two, or I can go just mag pickups, or I can go just undersaddle. But this is a bit of a Frankenstein guitar. It's not something I'm going to offer as standard or anything else, but it just shows everything's kind of possible. And as I say, these are going to be made on a case-by-case basis, so if you want something else, you can let me know. Something else people have asked me about is actually access to inside the instrument. Now, it's actually quite simple. I can get my hands into these sound holes, believe it or not, but if you've bigger hands, there's actually quite a simple and easy solution that I have thought through at length. In terms of how I wire these, you can wire the entire instrument outside of the guitar. If you draw an imaginary line from this sound hole down to where your preamp is on your jack lead, the exact halfway point is the bridge. So what that means is if you put your undersaddle pickup down through here and you fish it out and you plug it in here, whenever you put your preamp into position, the wires are perfectly suspended. You don't have to shorten or lengthen them or anything inside the guitar. You don't have to affix them to the top or the bottom. They're just suspended in midair. And to me, I think that's the best solution. So it's actually quite simple. I have added access holes to this guitar because obviously you've all the pots and all the wiring and everything. It's something I can do. It's something I prefer not to do if I don't have to. So perhaps the number one question I get is, Simon, when can I order one of these? When can I buy one of these? Or can I buy this guitar you just let me play? A long story short, if you asked me 3 years ago when I started this, when will they be ready for sale, I probably would have told you 6 months. It's been a massive rabbit hole I've gone down. There's been a lot of development, a lot of trial and error, a lot of refining the design and the process and everything else. There's also been COVID and Brexit and all the external factors, but the end is in sight. As I say, my last hurdle is paint, and now I have a paint booth and I have a lot of new materials I've tried. I'm getting very close to a finish I'm happy with. It's just now getting that to be a consistent every single time, and then I'll be ready to take orders. So I don't want to put a date on it, but I'm hoping it's in the next few months at the most. So yeah, that's us kind of at the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have anything else you'd like to ask me, just let me know. And yeah, hit me up with messages. I'll do a follow-up video in the next few weeks, hopefully with some big advances then, and I will see you guys soon. Come here, come on. One last question you guys may have is, who's this guy? This is Cooper, and he's my 10-month German Shepherd, and he comes to work every day with me, so you'll probably see him in the videos.